Buenos días. Yo soy el Dr. Casas y esta es la hora con el Dr. Casas. So, I'm going to share this one in English. This is a critical message for people who may listen to this at some point. So, part of growing up in Baldwin Park and the area is how do we make the area better? Regardless of whether you're Republican or Democrat. And the easy answer is if you can get through college, life improves significantly. That is a statement of fact. I won't go into all the research, but the amount of homelessness drops significantly. The amount of other problems in society drops significantly with that college degree. So the issue is, in terms of honorable careers, the most honorable career to accomplish these goals, which in many ways are out of reach because the academic structure is not there in our primary and secondary schools, meaning high school. And the financial cost is, unless you have financing that you can afford this stuff, it makes it out of reach. So the most honorable career in our country and on the planet is absolutely serving in the United States military. Whether it's the Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, and I would include the Coast Guard. Absolutely the most honorable career path in the country and on the planet. I don't think most people in this current generation of 2024 appreciate what you have in our country. And one way of appreciating what we have in our country is you serve to protect our country. So that's at the individual level. At the macro level, must protect our sovereignty. There has never been a country in the history of world history that has survived without protecting their sovereignty. The classic example is the Roman Empire. At its height, people thought it was invincible. And yet, if you look at the factors that led to its downfall, ultimately they were not able to protect their sovereignty because they expanded beyond their capacity to protect that expansion. And over time, they were attacked. Their sovereignty was violated, and the Roman Empire fell. So at the individual level, serving in the military is the most honorable career on the planet. It gives you the understanding of what is required to go forward in life. In the big picture level, the country must protect its sovereignty. And that point is completely glossed over by politicians of our era. Most politicians right now are not addressing that absolute critical concern that we are nowhere near the ability to fight two regional wars anymore. Our Navy cannot fight two regional wars, both in the Pacific and the Atlantic theaters. So at the national security level, we have grave gaps in our capacity. So let's bring this back to you, to serving in the military. Let's talk about high school. Right now, California, depending on the metric, it's the bottom 10% or the bottom 20% of the country in terms of quality of education. So which means that you're never going to get to MIT out of high school. The likelihood is less than 1%. If you look at the actual metrics, especially here in Baldwin Park, La Puente, El Monte, Azusa, Hacienda Heights, Irwindale, right? These areas where with predominant Latino populations, the odds of you attending the best universities in the country and the best universities on the planet, the odds are almost zero. And if you think about it, typically if a student gets approved or accepted to attend one of these universities, there's usually an article in one of the local papers. And they acknowledge the student, which they should. However, it should not be one student. It should be many, many, many students. And the only way to get there is we build that structure in our educational system. We offer all the AP courses. We offer the honors courses. We offer, in addition to the typical high school courses. If we don't offer the structure, they're never going to get the advanced GPA to apply and be accepted at the best universities. It's simply not going to happen. You will not have the educational background. You will not have the 4.5 GPA. You will not have the 1400 plus on the SAT. You will not have the letters of recommendation. You will not have had the summer experiences. All that will simply be absent, which makes you ineligible. So number one, must build up the structure. So for those who think that it cannot be done, take a look at the Diamond Bar Unified School District. If you look at their metrics, phenomenal. So it can absolutely be done. Absolutely, without a doubt. All it takes is the leaders in the rest of these areas I've mentioned to make a commitment. How does it relate to serving in the military? So you have some options going forward. This message is for the younger crowd and parents of the younger crowd. The military is a great place to begin. Whether you do 3 or 4 years or whether you do over 29 years total service as like myself. The military is a great place to begin. You appreciate what you have. You also earn through good service. You earn your GI benefits, which will pay for your college. Critical, absolutely critical. And you get assistance in buying a home. And there's other GI benefits that are eligible to you just by raising your right hand. And currently, less than 2% of the country raises their right hand to serve. That is absolutely not what right looks like. So if you don't have the grades to get to college, serve. You will have memories that most people on the planet will never have. And me, for my age, I cherish the memories for what I've done for our country. I absolutely cherish the memories. And frankly, I'd do it all over again in a heartbeat. If you do want to go to college, but you can't get into MIT, or you can't get into Columbia, or you can't get to Stanford, or you can't get to Princeton, or you're nowhere near attending the United States Military Academy at West Point, or you're nowhere near attending the United States Air Force Academy, or the United States Naval Academy, which frankly are the most difficult schools to get into on the planet. If you don't have those grades, then consider ROTC. Consider going to college. You apply to one of the local colleges and you have the military pay for your college, and then you serve 4 years. Now, the wonderful thing about this is you're still a civilian if you want to do that. And then you serve. Typically what happens is you find the light and you find your groove and you stay because you start to realize all the wonderful options there are once you serve in the military. And there are numerous options. If you have the motivation and the intelligence and the skill set, the doors are there. The doors will open for you. All you need to do is raise your right hand and go forward. So, I've talked a little bit about big picture of national security, little picture about you serving in the military. I've talked a little bit about the limitations of our current educational system in California. And I've given you a clear plan on how you can improve the quality of your life. I want to go on a tangent. You know, I often hear people talk about, for example, unions, like what's wrong with the union? Like, let's say a plumber's union. If that does it for you and you want to be a plumber, you probably don't need a college degree. There's probably specialized stuff at the junior college. And if that's what you enjoy doing, that's what you enjoy doing. However, right now, the secondary schools, the high schools are so poor that that's your absolute ceiling. That's where you're limited to. Right now, most kids end up at a junior college, and we know right now 90% of them never transfer to a 4-year. So you're stuck being the plumber, whether you enjoy it or whether you can't go forward beyond the junior college. 90% of students do not go to the 4-year, and that's wrong. You should have the option to go to the best universities in the country and make your dreams come true. And that structure is not present. It's missing. And instead, California developed a vast junior college system. I would have to argue it's intentional. Because instead of putting the money in the junior college system, what they should have done is put the money in the structure of high schools so students can achieve those SAT scores and those 4.5 GPAs, and the students in our area go to the best universities in the country. And that is absolutely not present. So these are my thoughts for the morning. Again, if you're a faculty at a college, a high school, GROTC group, community group, church group, I'm happy to present. I'm happy to talk about these issues, and I'm happy to talk about the way ahead for you, for your team, so that they can have a wonderful life supporting our country, have a wonderful, and make wonderful memories serving our military. Again, whether it's 3 or 4 years or an entire career, you absolutely will not regret it. Yo soy el doctor Pedro Antonio Casas. Buenos días.